We are on to the last 3 points. Stay with me, come on now, stay with me. 4th point. Now I want you to listen very carefully. These 9 lessons that I got from this book have helped me improve my social life. So if you want to know exactly how to make friends in the most fastest way and also how to influence people, just give me 10 minutes of your time and I promise you, you're gonna be getting better. Okay. This is the best book that I've ever read. Like, I don't want to be dramatic. This is the best book that I've ever read in my entire life. The author believes that this is the only book that you need that will get you to success. The first section of the book is called Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. The second part is 6 ways to make people like you. Alright, now the third part is how to win people to your way of thinking, and the 4th one is be a leader, how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. The last 2 sections, as you can clearly see, they are more serious, you know what I mean? And my audience is people that are more younger, more like my age, teens, in your early 20s, 30s, we're not discriminating. So I'm gonna go more into the side of how to win those friends and how to influence people. Getting into it, very first lesson that this book gives you is what I'll call the 3 C's that you should not do. It is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. This is rather obvious, I must say, but the reason why this is important that you should not criticize, condemn, or complain is the fact that you need to remember that we're not logical as we think we are. We have frontal lobes, yes. We have brains, yes. We think more than animals, yes. But we are very emotional. Even judges, for crying out loud, are led by emotions. How they feel about certain people can actually direct them as to what the judgment they will pass on those people. First of all, criticizing people, it never changes them. It only helps you relieve the feelings that you have towards that person. But from my personal own experience, it never changes them. They become defensive about themselves and try to protect their ego. Key point here, which I came out with, is that you should learn to understand, sympathize, and positively enforce things. Positively enforce meaning, if for example, you admire someone, you're like, oh, I love your smile. That person will start smiling more. And then the negative things that you don't like about them becomes reduced because they're going to start doing more of the things that you compliment, more of the things that you notice and you say to them that I love this. Sympathize with people and don't do the 3 C's. Can we talk about the window right now? Like it's an enemy to my progress because why the lines? But the level of sun that you're getting there and there. You know what I mean? But anyways, let's move on to the second point. The second point in how to handle people is that give honest and sincere appreciation. This one, again, very, very obvious. But do we do it? No, we don't. As obvious as it is, we are very stingy with our compliments. We are very stingy with our appreciations. Even appreciating the people around you, appreciating your family for the things that they do for you. This cross around my face. But anyways, appreciating the little things that people do for you. The power that it has is just enormous. Every man I meet is my superior in some way. This is a quote that a guy called Emerson says. So to him, he feels that every single man that he ever meets is superior to him in a certain way. And I feel like this is a great way to learn to appreciate people. If you think of it in the sense that every single person that you meet is better than you in something, at least one thing. And if you recognize that thing that they're better at, then say it to them. Know how happy they'll be to hear that. The third part, the last point in how to handle people, the fundamentals, is that you must arouse an eager want in the other person. All right. Now you're asking yourself, what does this mean? How do I arouse an eager want in the other person? So they put it this way. You should always remember that there is no other way to make somebody else do what you want except if you make them want to do it. Think of our parents, or most parents. Most parents, they try to force their children into doing what they want. But that should not be in consideration for you to try to make people do the things that you want. You should always work on making the other person want to do the thing that you want them to do. How do you do this, you may ask? So the book gives an example of this child. So this child has to go to kindergarten for the first time. But unfortunately, the child does not want to go to kindergarten and is like throwing a tantrum and whatnot and whatnot. Then the father thinks, in what way can I make my child be interested in actually going to kindergarten? He thinks of what the child likes. The child likes finger painting, the child likes whatever toys that they like and whatnot and whatnot. So now what he does is, while the child is busy throwing a tantrum, the father together with the mother, they start finger painting, and then the child is intrigued. Obviously, it's what they like doing. So then the child is like, what's going on? I want to finger paint along. Come on. The parents are like, no, if you want to do finger painting, you better go to kindergarten. In kindergarten, they do finger painting. They play with cars. They do that and that and that and that. And then the child is now wanting. Obviously, the child is gonna want now to go to kindergarten. The following day, when they woke up in the morning, the father is usually the first one to wake up. But when they woke up, the child was literally sleeping on the couch, all dressed and stuff, because he was going to make sure that he goes to that kindergarten because it's something that he really, really, really wants. Think in the other person's perspective. What do they want? What drives them? Then use that to make them eagerly want to do the thing that you want them to do. Okay, let us now get into the 6 things that make people like you. Let's address the title. You know what I mean? Nobody likes to say, I want people to like me. It sounds like a vague way to put it. It sounds like you care about other people's, how other people see you. But at the end of the day, when people like you more, it's easier to just get by. It's easier when you make mistakes in certain areas. People will forgive you much more easily because they like you to begin with. You'll be able to get the things that you want in life easier. So this is very important. But let me read this quote first of all. It says, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than in 2 years by trying to make other people interested in you. If you did not take note of that, I don't know. This is trying to say that become genuinely interested in other people. That's a key. But let's hear what the 5 other parts of this section is about. The second one, I think you might have noticed that I've been implementing it in this video. The second one is smile. Point blank period. Smile. And I think we really undermine the power of smiling. I feel like it's something that has been said over and over and over again, that it came to a point where we don't really care for it, And also another problem is that a lot of people fake smile, which is not fun. Genuinely smile, How many people are actually smiling at other people? Literally no one. People are smiling at their own people. Nobody's even smiling at the security guard when you're walking past them. No one smiles at the cashier. No one smiles at the whoever. We're just on the grind. We're not even grinding anything, but everybody's on the grind. You don't even know what you're grinding. Learn to smile more. Smiling really does have a positive impact. It can lift other people's moods. Your smile can be like the sun breaking through the clouds. The third point, I must say, I am guilty of this one, of not doing it, but it is to remember people's names. When I read this one, I was like, okay, lock me up. The topic of this chapter was, remember that a person's name is to that person the most beautiful and the sweetest sound in any language that exists. Even if I'm in China, when I hear someone say Zizi or Zizi, like I'm like, who that? Know what I mean? Who's that? Who's calling my name? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if I'm in Johannesburg. It doesn't matter if I am at Switzerland or Canada, for crying out loud. If I'll be hearing my name, obviously I'm gonna be happy that, oh, someone knows me. Oh, who that? They say it's very important to remember people's names. So obviously I won't leave you guys hanging. So the book gives that some of the tricks to learn people's names that some of the smartest people in the world have used is asking the person maybe twice what their name is. If you're particularly not familiar with the name, like, can you help me pronounce that? Or how do you spell that? After that person has said their name, repeat it in your mind, So you meet John, you're like, hi, my name is Banban, what's yours? My name is John. And then you're like, oh, okay, John, nice to meet you. And then you repeat John, okay, his name is John. And you repeat it in your head. As simple as that. Oh, an ad. We are on to the last 3 points. Stay with me. Come on now, stay with me. 4th point. Now I want you to listen very carefully. Be a good listener. Encourage other people to talk about themselves. Sometimes, you get people who you meet that person for the first time and they'll be genuinely interested in you. They'll get you talking. And you see me, I'm the type that once I talk, I don't stop. Especially if I can see this person is particularly interested in what I have to say or is particularly interested in me. Oh, I'm gonna talk, man. I'm gonna talk all the way to Cape Town and bake. Learn to encourage the other person to speak about themselves. So Dale, he meets with this lady at a party or whatever, social event, and then the lady is like, oh Dale, I heard recently you were traveling to somewhere maybe in Europe or whatever. And then Dale is like, yeah, I was in Europe for a couple of weeks. You were also in Africa. And then the lady was like, oh yes, I was in Africa. What happened? And then the lady started talking about themselves, and then Dale was just sitting there like, oh really? Oh wow. You see how he got the other person, he acknowledged the other person's interest in what he has to say, but he quickly changed the topic into the other person and got them talking, because that is the most effective way. And the lady came out of the conversation genuinely being like, Dale is like one of the great conversationalists. But Dale was just sitting there and listening to the lady. And she kept talking. People love talking about themselves. I do, at least I know that. So learn to listen to the other person. Learn to get them talking. If you really can't hold yourself from talking about yourself, then maybe just have a diary or something. I'm just kidding. The second last point. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. Now, if you're gonna be talking, okay, they encourage you to talk in the other person's interests. What does this mean? I don't know if it was Roosevelt or not, who cares? But that president, right, he was one of the best social president, I'll put it that way. He is such a great conversationalist. He knows so many topics. But the truth was, what he would do is when he knows that, okay, he's going to have a guest, he would take the time to learn about the topics that would interest his guest. If a lawyer was coming around, he was going to be learning about them laws. He was going to be learning about them institutions. He's going to be learning about the struggles that lawyers face. Whatever thing that a lawyer might be interested in. Everybody would be so impressed after talking to him because he would genuinely understand them. He would speak as if he knows this person. He will speak like a fellow lawyer while he's a president. Learn to talk in the other person's interests. Obviously, to know what the other person's interest is, you need to listen. Allow them to feel like you understand where they're coming from. All right? I know you might be saying, what is the point of so much energy into knowing people's names, into listening to the other person, having them talk about their interests when I don't care? The reason why it's so important to do this. Let's say you are at university or college and you have a lecturer or a teacher if you're in high school. Now, what is the worst possible interaction that you would have with that teacher? Number one, if you forgot their name. You don't address them as Mrs. blah blah blah. You're gonna be like, sir or ma'am, that is so generalized, that is so vague. And imagine you're asking for something that is important. Now you're coming to address them and you're like, sir, I came to... Imagine if you're like, Mr. Banban, Mr. Dale. The fact that you're remembering that person's name is so important. Imagine you're a salesperson and you can't remember the people that you're trying to sell something to. That could literally influence that person either buying that item from you or buying it from the next person. You see how important this is? These ads. Let's get on to the last point. Now, the 6th and final point, or the 9th and final point, is Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Now, feeling important is like a human need. Just like we need water and we need food, it's a human need. We want to feel important. The reason why kids grow up wanting to be famous, the reason why people work so hard in things that sometimes don't even matter, is because we want to feel important. You wonder why so many people want to be doctors while it's not one of the most paying degrees. The richest people in the world are rich through business. But there's still so many people that want to be doctors, so many people that want to be lawyers and all of these things. It's because those things, those titles give a certain level of esteem, a certain level of importance. When I say, Dr. Banban, it has that thing like, oh, damn. Hi. It gives a certain level of importance. So if you can find a way to make people feel important, you've got their heart. I don't know how you're gonna help the people around you to feel important, but think of creative ways to make them feel that way. Things like, for example, remembering someone's birthday, remembering something that was important to them and something that was exciting to them. That's another way to make someone feel important. Asking them for advice for things that are quite crucial. Assigning very important responsibilities to someone. That is another way of making someone feel important. They'll feel needed, they'll feel wanted, So that is just something that you need to be creative about. See in what ways you can use it to be able to get people to like you more. I would say the key important takeaway from these lessons is that learn to just love people. We are in a society where we've learned to be self-centered. Everything is about us and us alone. But if you just learn to love people more, people that you come across, just learn to have some level of love for them. If it's not love, some level of sympathy for them and some level of compassion towards them. Implement these things. Try to be cognizant of these specific things that people care about. Once you care about other people will care about you. Does that make sense? I must say that these 9 lessons, it's not that I'm relaying them because I'm particularly good at them. I am relaying them simply because I feel like it's something that we all should keep in mind. It's something that you won't get good at overnight. I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow morning and all of a sudden I'm smiling to everybody that I walk past. It's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be difficult at the start because if you weren't doing these things previously, like I was not, then you need to build the habits of doing it. So you're not walking this journey alone of trying to be more of a person that has great and long-lasting friendships. The only person that's trying to be able to learn how to influence people. I'm right there with you. And like always, I am thankful to all the people that like, subscribe, comment, all of those good things. And if you don't, I still thank you for being here and watching this video through. Okay, can we guys comment on the aesthetics of this video? And what are we thinking?